întâlnire plăcută, virtuală. Unfortunately, my Romanian vocabulary kind of ended there. But I very much look forward to interact with you virtually and, of course, eventually to meet you all face to face. Today, I'm going to share with you a presentation about the Knowledge Metaverse, a project and a grant program that we're offering now in Romania, modeled after what we've done in 73 other countries, and also where we have set up already the first two centers, one in with Babes-Bolyai University in Cluj, and the other one with the municipality of Târgu Mureș. So in the next few minutes, I'll share with you why we do this, what these programs concretely entail, and how we've done it in other locations. And subsequently, I'm opening up for questions. I'm sure you have many questions or thoughts, and hopefully this will be an interactive session. So first of all, I believe you see my screen, and many people ask me about this metaverse and what the Knowledge Metaverse concretely entails. And there's many definitions about this online. And rather than to go into definition, I'll rather talk about what we believe it is. One way to define something is to hope that this Knowledge Metaverse should not be proprietary. Although we have a strong partnership with Facebook, Oculus, we believe that this Metaverse must be open and agnostic with all type of devices. The other thing we believe the Knowledge Metaverse shouldn't be, it shouldn't enable us to, or tempt us, I should say, to retreat from the world. There is a nightmarish vision that was depicted by Spielberg in a movie a few years ago called Ready Player One. I believe some of you have seen it. If you haven't, it's a vision of Ohio Columbus 2045, where the society is disintegrating and people spend 10 to 12 hours in the metaverse and don't have time to contribute productively to society, to learning, to training, or performing. And the third thing we hope it's not going to be, it was actually depicted in a comedy not long ago. I think it's called The Free Guy. And it's this divisiveness that we've seen in social media recently that is basically taken to the next level. It's divisiveness on stereo. It's much more than what we saw in the United States, the 6th of January, where, of course, when you move from a two-dimensional environment to a full three-dimensional immersive environment, these negative forces can be unleashed. So rather than talk about that, let's talk about what we believe at EON this metaverse is, and why we would like to engage with you to expand the positive side of the metaverse. So these four images that you see there depict our view on the metaverse. First of all, if you take it in the context of academia, it's a campus that combines both the physical brick and mortar as well as the digital ones. If you take it in the context of citizen science, is cities where everybody collaborates in a positive way to build a better society. And you can use technology like I depict today, like Merged XR, a new product that we just released, or spatial meetings where you can teleport people. So fundamentally, we believe that the Knowledge Metaverse shall contain three basic elements. Number one, it has to be open. And by open, I mean the ability to cover 5.3 billion devices that people already have in their pockets. Most people here in Romania have a mobile phone or a laptop or a PC. And you should be able to use the metaverse in those environments. And that's what our platform EON XR does. So you can use it with everything. The second attribute, it has to be inclusive. So this should not only be for geeks in Silicon Valley, but it should be done for everybody, even people that are not technical, people that may struggle with PowerPoint. So for that purpose, we have made a no-code environment. And people that study philosophy or biology can actually create their own application. The third element of this, it should be also comprehensive. So we have at the moment 1.1 million 3D assets that already are created and you can access from day one. Everything from, let's say, a meeting room to the particle accelerator in CERN to what have you, whatever you want to think about, we most likely have it in this environment. So that's the first element of the openness of the metaverse. The other aspect is basically the opposite thing of what we saw earlier in Ready Player One, which is expanding your physical reality, enriching your physical reality versus contracting it. And to do that, we have developed a product called Merged XR. And Merged XR helps you to integrate with reality by creating a digital twin. And this digital twin can then be injected with knowledge and then can be superimposed or overlapped with the physical environment. So your physical environment has more knowledge. It's bursting with knowledge. And I'll show you a few examples. And this you can do, the enrichment process, you can do either manually based on your know-how. Let's say I know biology, I can do that. Or you can also use artificial intelligence where we recognize the subcomponents and can put so-called knowledge portals. And knowledge portals can be a video, can be text, can be in 30, 40 languages, including Romanian, but can also be a step-by-step instruction. Everything you need to learn, to train, and to perform. So that's the expand component. Now, the last element is perhaps the one that I like most. And this has to do with the ability to teleport yourself to a new location. We call it spatial meeting. So versus the Zoom meeting, like we are now, where we have a number of heads on a screen, you're able to take the environment that you are, a meeting room, a laboratory, and invite other people to participate where they can walk into your space. So you have the ability in real time to explore, to discover, to converse, to walk around, and communicate and collaborate. So those are the three elements that we think are the base or the foundation of the knowledge metaverse. So you may ask yourself at this point, okay, so what can I do with it? Obviously, you can do the practical step of you can have a platform. You can, let's say I want to develop an application for medical. So I have the ability to either go to the library to pick up something that exists. I have the ability to use my phone here to scan it myself. And you can do that literally in seconds. It's very, very simple. So if I want to create a scan of this room, all I have to do, and I can show you right now, I can go to the software. I can click on a button. And as you can see here, I can click scan. Okay, so now I'm doing a little scan of this environment. I'm just swiping like I paint. I stop it. And there is my little scan. You can see I zoom in, zoom out. And of course, with a little bit more time, I'll have the whole room done maybe in a minute. Once I have that, I'm able then to inject knowledge in that scan, and then I'll be able to publish this and share it. So this can be used for things like IT, for learning and training and performing, manufacturing. Let's say I want to program a robot, but I can't afford a physical one, so I can program it virtually. Art and culture. Let's say I live in California, but I'm dreaming about Spanish culture, so I want to teleport myself to Catalonia 100 years ago. You see I'm in a living room, you see that to the left, and now suddenly I'm in Catalonia. So I can, or I want to apply this to medical, so I know health is a very important aspect here. So if I want to train nurses, we are working, for example, with the largest pediatric hospital in the United States, and this is used both for training of nurses, but also to alleviate anxiety with pediatric patients before they go for treatment. Or if I want to engage people in lifelong learning, let's say retired people, they want to do something meaningful, why don't document the richness of Sighișoara, for example, that has, or Bucharest for that matter, and they can be involved in this citizen project. But perhaps one of the biggest areas is laboratories. So we were just with Polytechnic of Bucharest, we were working, of course, with Babes University since a longer time, and you are able to convert the physical laboratory into digital laboratory, or have a copy of that at least. And in this case, you can see the doctor there is in San Francisco, the lady is in Saudi Arabia, and the student is in a backyard in Orange County, California. So I can switch from an operation room to something else. Or if I have a whole factory, let's say production of Dacia, I think that's your car here. So I move to a parking lot because I need more space. And I'm walking around my phone, I'm looking through it. I'm actually represented by an avatar. And I'd be able to communicate with people and train for a manufacturing or emergency procedure. Talking about emergency procedure, you can see here a nursing where you basically use this technology to teach people how to do CPR. So those are only some examples. Now, during COVID, we've seen students, they want to create this environment, but they also want to be personal, not generic. So here you can see this lady. She's actually scanned using a phone. And this gentleman here, this is not generic avatars, these are real avatars. And then once I have them, they can join. So I was last Thursday in London. We opened a center with East London University. And you can see here that I created spatial meetings. The gentleman there is from Sweden, the lady is from Sweden, but you can see the real people mixed together, virtual and real in a physical environment. Or I know with Babes, we're looking at archaeology. You have some amazing Roman ruins, but also predating Roman. So in this case, you can use a scan of that and invite this. In this case, we're looking Arizona, and this is called Mesa Verde. It's an Indian settlement. And I can invite people from different locations. Or you also have a big hospitality industry here, and I think Constanza, Brasov. And there you can use, like you see here, this hospitality environment, but it's not real, it's virtual. So you can actually move it around, adapt it. Or my mom, she's 82, and she, during COVID, she likes to cook, but during COVID, she couldn't meet her friends, so she was scanning her dishes and in the kitchen, and it actually sharing that with other retired friends. So if my mom can do it, I'm joking about it, everybody can do it. So it's very much available, accessible, and affordable for people. So let me be concrete. So yesterday, I had a half a day because I landed from Glasgow, and I said, let's go out and for a walk. I took my phone. I took a copy of, this was a digital photo of, I think he's a poet. His name is, I believe, Mihail Eminescu. And so I created a digital twin. I created my knowledge portal. I used artificial intelligence because I didn't know what the building was called. Immediately it says Romanian Antierium. I inject knowledge into this. I have my digital twin. Then I walked 500 meters to a museum. There was an exposition about a gentleman called Brancusi. Didn't know much about him, but I was able to learn very quickly. Again, made a scan, digital twin, injecting the knowledge. I use also what we call the hand of God, which is internal name, no offense. But it's the ability to actually create a step-by-step guided tour. And here what I learned, I explained. And then I walked another 100 meters to the palace, and there I created a digital twin of some phenomenal places there. Took me about, just a few seconds. And then there was upstairs, there was all your royals. They had paintings and sculptures. This is a king called Mihail. There was a Mary Queen, King Ferdinand, Carol I and II. So very quickly, I was able to do what it used to take us weeks and months. To do this scan that you see there would have taken a team of a few if you had to model it from scratch. And then, of course, I'm interested in painting, so I took this home. I'm staying at the Intercontinental. So now I have the scans. They are in the cloud. Obviously, the room is there wasn't a big room, so I cannot make it full size. When I go back to California, I'll put it on the terrace. I'll invite my friends with a glass of wine, and we can actually experience Romania's richness in terms of museum, etc. So, and now this is not limited to art. It's, of course, applicable for hospitals, for scientific labs, for factories, whatever you want to use this, you can use it for. So that's a quick example of the speed that you can create this. So in Glasgow, University of Glasgow, very, very famous, where Lord Kelvin, Watts, and Adam Smith spend their time. We are doing a digital, university. So it's where the students get different parcels, and they have to scan and inject the knowledge there. So that's where this is going. Now, so we are doing this Knowledge Metaverse program around the globe. 73 countries had started by the time I started my trip. I think we are soon above 100. This is some of my travel itinerary where I'm welcomed by partners. Pretty hectic. So I'm right now in Romania, tomorrow in South Africa. And I think after that, Kenya and Cairo before I return home for a couple of weeks. And then in November, we are doing Asia. What's happened is that the COVID has accelerated. It's really like putting gasoline on fire. I mean, the technology was ready. People were using it. But now suddenly it became a necessity. So we've seen an 890% increase in users. And let me give you a concrete example. So I'll use Morocco. So there we started with a center, a smaller center. It was a $28 million center together funded by us, together with USAID, together with the digital, I think it's called the Department of Digital Science, Agency for Digital Digitalization. So we worked together, and we started with 6,000 students. This was in February last year. A year later, we have more than 60,000 students involved across Morocco. And we are doing now, with this gentleman here, this Minister of Education, we are doing a national rollout. Our goal for Romania is to do the same thing. So we started with 2 locations. We met today with Polytechnic of Bucharest. We met with Romanian American University. We're meeting tomorrow with the President's Council. So our goal is very consistent to do that. Similar that we are engaged now in European Union. EON is also a European company. I'm myself originally from Sweden, still a Swedish citizen, although I live in US. UK, it's not part of but we are doing it there. That's where we inaugurated the center just last week. I talked about Glasgow. Germany, we work a lot with both academia and government. Fraunhofer Institute was one of our first partners. Switzerland, we work with Lucerne. Portugal, we just applied last year for a $40 million grant that they received. And they are building a very large deployment, including cultural heritage. They are very keen on that. China, we work quite a lot there, both in 3 centers so far. And the last announcement was with Premier Xi Jinping. It was virtual. I couldn't be there physically for Beijing. India, Japan, Czech Republic was there a couple of weeks ago. Bulgaria, your neighbor from the south, we set up the first center in Burgas in April. And I met the Minister of Finance last 2 weeks for expanding. Slovenia, likewise. Slovenia is very progressive. The Minister of Digital Transformation are investing a lot. Also in Industry 4.0 because they have a lot of car manufacturing. Kosovo, we were blessed to have an inauguration a couple of weeks ago. Minister of Industry. So I don't want to bore you with all this, but it goes on, whether it's Ecuador or Panama. So it's really a global movement. Sometimes when I'm tired, I think there's only 180 countries in the world. Now, a blessing was when we got Ethiopia. We worked with Ethiopia for many years, and oftentimes they can't afford it. But we got some support from IFC. So now we're doing a national rollout with the minister there. Now, you may ask yourself, why is EON doing this? Why are we engaged on this? So EON has 2 arms. We have a for-profit company, EON Reality Inc. We also work since 15 years through our NGO. Our NGO is called Learn for Life. And originally, we worked only in Africa. So we focused on countries, 15 years there, working together with UNESCO, SAFIPA, Kellogg's Foundation. We help the illiterate, functional illiterate, ITC illiterate, with basic stuff like road safety, soil conservation, mine safety, agriculture, malaria. And we were recognized together with our partners. We got the World Summit Award 2009. We got the Africa City Achievement Award. And we've been blessed to speak a lot in United Nations, etc. So that kind of laid a foundation for our belief. Our belief is that knowledge is a human right. And we need to make it available, accessible, and affordable for everybody on the planet. That's what we firmly believe in. And this is walking the talk, so to speak, as we say in the United States. Another belief is that no one can build the knowledge metaverse alone. In fact, we work together with partners, and we are the facilitators, but the content, the knowledge resides in our partners with respect to various topics. We believe this is going to require not only thousands or millions, eventually billions of people to build a knowledge metaverse, very much the same like the internet. So we want to partner early in this context. We also see a lot of jobs produced, and we are recruiting quite a few. Our partners and customers do the same. And of course, research. We are very keen to work in research because this field is just in the very beginning. I mean, in the next 10 years, we'll go from IoT to our iOS, Internet of Senses. We are talking right now involving just sight and hearing, limited tactile, but we can do taste or smell. So there's a revolution there that's going to happen. So that's what we like to do. We like to do it, whether it's in Singapore, where we have our head office, or whether it's in places, wherever around the globe, we like to do that. Now, let me turn the coin and ask the question, why are our partners joining? So why are academic institutions in United States or in Canada or in Honduras or in Zimbabwe or anywhere, Vietnam, Indonesia, etc.? So there are 4 reasons. Number one, there's hard evidence that this technology actually helps students learn faster, retain information longer, and make ultimately better decisions. And there was an interesting study published not long ago from PwC that proved that after the study, that students learn 4 times faster in this environment, 275% more confident, 3.7 times more emotionally engaged, and 4 times more focused than traditional e-learning. So, you know, there's a saying that Confucius had, I hear, I forget. I see, I remember. I do, I understand. And it's about the doing, the tactile, that experiential learning allows you. So I would say that's a major reason. Not a big surprise for us. We've been doing this for 23 years. What was a big surprise, though, was the fact that during COVID, we did a study. Academic institution that used experiential learning, and academic institution that used just Zoom and the likes. So we could see clearly that the Zoom group had decreased student engagement, decreased retention, decreased, actually everything to do with enrollment went down. While the ones that did a mixed, they used Zoom, but then also used experiential learning, they actually had the opposite effect. A lot of students start going there because they could see the benefits. So I think that's a very important component of this. And by the way, that's the rector of Babes Bolyai. We talked about an hour at the webinar last time about how this can help, for example, language learning. The other thing is building intellectual property. We believe that the digital assets soon are more valuable than the physical assets. But these has to be owned by the local partners, not by us, not by any other American or other type of company. And they need to be protected. So we are now starting to apply things like blockchain technology and NFT, non-fungible tokens, so they are copyrighted and cannot be plagiarized. The last element is monetization. So some of our partners want to monetize this. And for that, we have a marketplace. 42 million people have downloaded the viewer. So you can actually select to monetize this and get a return on investment or get return in general. Now, historically, who's using this? First year, 20 years ago, it was organizations like Imperial College, Carnegie Mellon, Cornell University, ETH in Switzerland, so people that had a lot of money. Nowadays, it's been democratized to almost any country. And with regards to where EON secures historically most revenue, it has been not with academia, it's been with industry, right? So we see this as a great way to open the gates to allow industry to do it, whether it's Boeing, ExxonMobil, Festo, or whoever. Okay, so if you are interested in this grant, what exactly will the grant consist of? So 4 things. We are targeting either academic institutions, and we are targeting also governments, local governments, etc. So academic institution they receive more or less the same thing. So there's 4 elements. It's infrastructure. So we work with the world's largest company in this field. It's Amazon Web Service. So all the grant recipients get non-limited amount of data storage and unlimited in time. So it's perpetual. The other thing they get also is the platform infrastructure. They also get all the links to, because we support Microsoft HoloLens, Facebook Oculus, Apple ARKit, Magic Leap, and 30 other devices. So 5.3 billion people have access to devices such as this, which we also support. Then you get the three platforms I was talking about, the no-code environment, the digital twin environment, and the teleportation environment. You also get additional hardware, such as 300 headsets to convert your phone to a virtual reality device, 3D scanners, everything you need turnkey to make it happen. And last but not least, perhaps the most important, is the know-how and resources. So we cover the salary 100% for people to actually be engaged in this environment. And also that includes LMS integration, that includes all the certification of personnel, that includes many things, needs assessment, etc. I mean, the way we look at the centers is a beacon of lights to open a market. Ultimately, our goal is to conduct a national rollout in Romania very much the same way we're doing in other locations. Now, what does it take to do this? If, let's say, someone of you may be interested, so what would you do? First of all, feel free to contact our partner. We will provide you the information. Our partner here is, his name is Florin Balint, and he's been in touch with many academic institutions. All you have to do is apply. We have a grant. This grant is open for you. It's a very simple process. It takes about 15 minutes to apply. It's online. You get an answer in 10 days, yes or no. If you get the yes, you also get 45 days opportunity for you to review the offer letter and decide to accept it or not. If you decide not to accept it, the money will go to the next participant. There's three more things that happen after that. One is the implementation part, which I'm not going to go over tonight. The Metaverse Academy, which is a special school that we used to charge a lot of money for, but if you receive the grant, it's free. And this is to train not only students in general topics, but in specific topics related to virtual reality. And also we have 4 people on staff that do nothing else than work with our partners to apply for additional grants. And Romania is quite blessed because you have a lot of European funds as long as you qualify. And our participation there is also to do the matchmaking with partners. So Babeș, now we're working with University of Genoa, University in Slovenia, Bulgaria, and I think one more country to apply in November for a big grant. So in the interest of time, I'll stop there. There's 3 grants I would like to highlight. One is called the Future Skill Grants. This is targeting more like polytechniques or basic technical skills, nursing, etc. We have a research grant program for $15 million. Both are $15 million. This one is targeting more academic institution, higher education. And we have a local regional grant all the way to national grant that can go from $30 to $150 million. This is earmarked for local governments, municipalities, but also for national governments. We cover, in the first 2 cases, the first and second, 98% of the cost, 98.6% of the cost. There is a small fee, that one-time fee that you would have to cover if you get the grant. It's called the grant guarantee fee. The rest I'll skip for now. The metaverse, it's a longer story that will take another time. But the key here is to train Romanian students to become part of this vibrant industry that's exploding at the moment. 2.6 million jobs just created this year. And lots of these jobs are very well paid. And these are prices in America. But it's also exciting to see that who's employing those students. Of course, many are employed by us, our customers, our partners, but we employ a few also. And COVID has brought another positive thing, is that it used to be that these students had to move to Silicon Valley to work for us, or to Singapore. But nowadays, for example, I take Lavina. She's based in Kigali in Rwanda, and she's working from there, and it's very productive. And rather than spending most of our salary for a small apartment in San Francisco, now she can be there. And then I think I'll stop there. Maybe say 2 words about grants, because I know Romania is interested in that. And just 2 words. I'll skip the rest here because there's too many slides. So EON has quite a bit of experience in grants. In fact, I would say over the last 36 years that I've been engaged, not in EON, but generally speaking, we've been securing a lot of grants. And this year is special because I've never seen so much funds available. European Union spending a lot of them for three areas, anything to do with resilient post-pandemic recovery, or has to do with education in general, or has to do with digitalization process. There's very good schemes for that. Also with the environment. So we are engaged in all of these, and as I said, it's something that we have some experience in, and there's no guarantees, as you know, with the bigger grants, European Union, and they are very time consuming, but we have a great rate of success. And on that note, I'll stop there and see if you have any questions, comments, or thoughts. Thank you so much. Okay, so should I look at something, or I guess it's text questions, right? Okay, I need to put my, thank you. I'm trying to figure out the technology. Hello? Do I have to turn it on? Just so you know, I cannot hear anything. Okay. So, Florine, any questions? You can break the ice. Anyone in the audience here? Sounds that people are happy. Hello? No. Yeah. So the short answer is no, you will not be able to find them, but we have your participant list. So all you have to do is to reach out, because this is by invitation only. So what you have to do is to send your contact information to us, to Florine, and you have all been pre-qualified to apply. So then he will send you the online application and this presentation, so you can read through all the materials, because obviously there's a lot of materials that we went through very, very quickly. So you'll receive that within a day after you send this to us. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm.
Offer actually.
Yeah, I think you have it precisely. This is one of the key focus. So during the pandemic, we engaged with academic institution, for example, Los Angeles, where as a part of the education for medical students, for nurses, you have to have a certain percentage hands-on laboratory environment, which they couldn't do. So what we did with them is exactly what you say. We created digital twins, and they were able to interact, converse, and actually do hands-on, everything from how to insert a needle in the hand to much more sophisticated, how to reconnect the ventilator so you can treat 4 patients instead of 1. So that's a very good application. And I was mentioning also CHOC, which is Children's Hospital, exactly the same thing there. So I think health for us is super important. And I think we prioritize application. I mean, we like all aspects of learning, but health is perhaps a little bit higher than others due to the impact, positive impact we can have.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you.
Hello, Dr. Lejerskar. If it's permitted to ask another question.
Absolutely. Call me Dan. Don't call me anything.
Okay, Dan. I'm Bogdan.
Hi, Bogdan. Thank you.
So, Gogvel. It was a very nice presentation. I'm the vice president of the Carol Davila University of Medicine and Pharmacy in Bucharest. So I would be, maybe you can make for us a clarification. So the thing is that you showed it in museums and so on, a static reality. But if we want to use it for medical education, we would like to, show people CRP. I mean, how is that possible? Because I didn't figure it out. How can be part in this virtual reality to some show going on, not only to what is presented in a museum? Can you develop on that, please?
Yeah. So are you able to see my screen? If not, if we can, do I have to turn it on again? Do you see my screen still?
I don't know.
Let me just talk with my colleagues here. So is it able to turn on the screen again, please? Okay, so tell me when the screen is on, because what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you some concrete medical applications that explain more interactively what you can do in this environment. Okay, so when you see the screen, just let me know and I'll start to talk about it. So, oh, I have to share. Okay, so bear with me, guys, for 1 second. I have to start sharing again. Okay, so there you go, share screen. And I have to share there is no selection. Yeah, but I can share the desktop, that's fine. I couldn't see the power. So you are able to see my screen at the moment, correct?
Not yet, Dan. Now, yes.
Okay. So I'll give you some examples. So here's the hands-on example where we have a patient, and what we're doing is that we have hundreds and hundreds of applications for medical. So here's the model of the patient, and now we are superimposing the physical patient and the virtual one, and we are inserting the needle. So we are training the nurses where exactly to apply the needle at the bifurcation of the veins and how it should look. There's tons of application for operation room training with step-by-step procedures. We have something called 3D, we call it 3D assessment. So first, let's say I'm going to do a procedure, for example, cataract surgical procedure. So I do the procedure, it's recorded in 3D, and then it captures all the important elements of this. And then the student has to do the same, and the system will then basically judge on the chronology, the time duration they've done it, and what they've done right and wrong. So it's a very dynamic way of learning. Obviously, you can decide at 2 o'clock that, let's say if you train on cadavers, I don't know if you do that, that you can do all that training. Or you can decide, for example, in an operation room, how to conduct the surgical procedure with all the dynamic aspects of that procedure, including all the machines, what's required. So what we need to do with you, as you engage in this, if you decide to apply and get the grant, is to walk with you and understand the needs assessment, what the topics that you want to do and the level of depth. And then, of course, based on that, we will adapt the training for you so you can actually conduct it. If you're curious about this, all you have to do is to go to YouTube, the YouTube channel, and click on EON, and you will find hundreds of applications just focused on medical or whatever topic you are interested in. Okay? And what we also can do, one more, sorry, apologize. We also provide, and this is something that I would love to do with you and everybody else that's participating in this, is to do a deep dive. And a deep dive is a 1-hour session versus showing PowerPoint. You actually see the real environment and you are sitting with an expert, and then you can see applications in, many, many areas. Everything ranging from, for example, with the university I was mentioning in UBT, we are doing 16 bachelor programs and 8 master programs spanning from health science to engineering and law and many other. Okay?
Perfect, tack så mycket.
Ja, tack så mycket. Mulțumesc also. So, hur kommer det sig att du pratar svenska?
Lite svenska. I did my PhD in Karolinska. I graduated 2004. Yeah.
Congratulations. So our chairman
Thank you.
for the nonprofit is Professor Bertil Andersson. He's also he sits in the board of the Kungliga Tekniska Högskola and also he was the chairman for the Nobel Prize Committee. And he's very tight with Karolinska. And I have at least 2 advisory board members from Karolinska. So that's a very
Super.
prestigious place. Congratulations.
Thank you very much. Thank you for your presentation. And we would judge your presentation in our administration board, and I'm sure that we're going to apply for a grant. Thank you very much, Dan.
Thank you so much. One more thing I should say, there are no financial obligation, no liabilities with the application. So you can apply, you have nothing to lose. And if you get it, then you have 45 days to decide if yes, I want it or not. So that's...
I think it's very exciting. Congratulations for what you do and develop.
Mulțumesc frumos, mulțumesc mult. Okay, more questions? No? Okay, so I'm sure you're going to have hundreds of questions after we hang up. But the good news, we have my colleague here. Would you mind saying hi, Florin? No? He's shy. He's from Sigishwara, yeah. I guess the Transylvanians are more shy. Anyway, but we look forward to engage with you. And I'm happy to set up follow-up calls individually and subject to your interest also a group session. There is someone. Yes, go ahead.
Hello, my name is Raluca Papacoc. I'm also from Carol Davila University from Bucharest. I really appreciate your very comprehensive presentation. What I'm interested in very punctually, it's about how long can last such a type of grant, for how many students could be used, and if you have already prepared some lessons or some presentations in the field of infectious diseases, medical, university level.
Yes, so the grant is perpetual, so there's no time limit. So once you receive this and the licenses, it never repatriates. So you'll keep the equipment, you'll keep the licenses without time limit. Now, initially, the grant I was talking about, the research grant, is up to campus-wide of up to 5,000 students and 750 internships. So that was the question. There was one more last question. I didn't catch the last one. Could you repeat that one? How?
The last one is a very acute problem for our university, and
infectious
it's about
diseases,
if you have already prepared lessons about infectious diseases.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So, for example, Val University of Technology, where I'm going next, which is a university in South Africa, has done a lot around COVID-19, has done a lot about infectious diseases. We have a lot of assets in this area, so almost any type of visualization. Among the 1.1 million 3D assets, you'll find not only COVID, but you'll find many other things. The way it works, this is important to realize, is that each partner gets their own institution. So in your case, if you set this up, you'll have your institution with your name, with your branding. The licenses will be provided, and you determine how to distribute them. You determine what you share. So there is a pool of lessons and a pool of assets that are available for everybody. And then each academic institution creates either their own, or they take assets from the pool and develops their own in Romanian or whatever language. And then they can determine to keep it for themselves or to share it. And if they share it, they can keep it, share it for free or for a fee. So the answer is yes, we have the assets, but we personally don't have the know-how or expertise in this area. So you will probably take the assets and create your own. There are some lessons created by other institutions that have been shared for free. So you can start with that immediately. But what you will discover very soon, that it's effortless to create your own. So think about this like PowerPoint. This is not something remarkable where you go to, to a special place with a specialist. And most faculty members and even students, I'll give you a concrete example. What we did with UBT, in the first 2 months of implementation, they created 4,000 assets and 1,600 applications. And the way they did it based on an approach that MIT has discovered. So let's say I'm learning about a medical procedure. So in that case, when I learn about this procedure, the student gets an assignment to demonstrate by creating an application or lesson. So here's the statistics. If you can still see my screen, you can see that they started in April with 1,000 students. They ballooned to 16,000 students between April and June. And they went from 130 test applications to 4,000 applications. And then, in fact, there was not 4,000, there were 43,000 because the students were so many and each got assignment to do it, but they selected the top 10% that they then incorporated as a part of the curriculum. So you will find that that's probably an approach that you want to use what exists, but of course you want to build your own intellectual property and your own curriculum. Okay, I hope that answered your question. Okay, so let's take a final question if someone has more. There's a gentleman there, Mr. Popescu.
Yes. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Yeah, so in case we organize delegations from Romania to California through the US Embassy, hopefully in post-COVID time, hopefully next year, could we organize any visit to your company's headquarters for main interested universities, representatives?
We were actually planning to do a big event this year, but obviously it got postponed. But we plan to do one next year, and not only to visit our headquarters, but to also visit with California-based academic institution hospitals, so you can see how this is implemented live. However, in post-COVID time, we engage in this way even before that. So if I take Târgu Mureș, I think someone needs to mute themselves. If I take Târgu Mureș and also Babeș-Bolyai, we never met them this time. I mean, we know Babeș-Bolyai since 10 years because they used to be a customer, but we never met physically for setting up the center. We did it. I was never here. We did it through our partnership and virtually initially. Okay. With that, I know you have better things to do than listen to me. So I wish you all a pleasant evening. And I hope we can engage, and looking forward to talk more and to keep the conversation going. And as I said, my colleague here is available for you anytime to pick up the discussion. All the best. La revedere. Bună seara. And looking forward to next
la revedere.
La revedere. Mulțumesc.
Bye bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Hey, do.
Bye bye. Bye bye.
O terminat?